Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy E2 Blue coming back at you again. And guess what, y'all? It is game day. It's playoff time. Wild card round. Let's get it. I mean, are y'all excited? Because we are playing the Seattle Seahawks tonight at 8:15 in AT&T Stadium. God, I wish I could be there at the game. I know that plaza is going to be lit tonight. You got um, two teams that ended the season with 10-6 coming into this battle, ready to go. And these teams are hella similar in a lot of ways, and I'm gonna get into that as well. But Seattle Seahawks coming in, they've been there before. They won a Super Bowl in the last couple of years, and they've been to the postseason more than the Cowboys lately, and they're ready to go. They have a team that knows how to win. Dallas Cowboys right now, this current team that we have is young. A lot of them haven't even gotten to a playoff game yet, unless they were here in 2016. But you look at where we're at right now, and you can't count these young guys out because they're ready to go. Jason Garrett always puts his philosophy in, and I think these young Cowboy players are like, all right, we know what's at stake here. We hear what's going on in the media. They hear what these analysts are saying. They hear what these fans are saying, especially from other teams, and how the Cowboys can't do this and they're going to choke and blah, blah, blah. They're going to be one and done. And, they hear it every day. Just like us as fans hear it every day, they hear it every day. And, I think they're ready to go. Some of the players that you follow, some of the players you follow on Twitter, you see the tweets they put out this morning and things of that nature, like, hey, we're ready to go, ready to play this playoff game, and, it starts right now. Ezekiel Elliott been ready to go since Tuesday, and, he's ready for his contract extension, and, he's going to play hard. So I'm going to go over a lot of these different things throughout this video as far as what the Cowboys need to do and things of that nature. As usual, I got y'all. Wild Card Playoff round tonight. Seattle Seahawks coming here with 18th ranked offense. The Cowboys have 22 ranked. We have been floating around those early to mid 20s with playoff percentages and things of that nature, but it really doesn't matter right now because there's only 12 teams, and as of right now in the playoffs, so total. So these numbers are based off of the last game of the season. Seattle coming in here 16th ranked defense, Cowboys 7th. Now, both of them have great defenses. It's just a battle of who wants it more. Passing, Seahawks are 27th and the Cowboys are 23rd. Now, those numbers are lower for Russell Wilson, mainly because they have the number one rushing offense in the league. Now, it's funny because Ezekiel Elliott is the rushing champ himself, but you look at their team overall and how they use all of their backs collectively, that's why they rush the ball more. You look at, the fact that Russell Wilson can run, their running backs can run, they use their fullback. They use their fullback. I'm sorry. I just thought that was hilarious. But anyway, you guys know what it is. Real fans know what it is. Like I said, Seahawks are first in rushing. Cowboys are 10th. And I think we dropped mainly because of last week, because Zeke didn't play. But, I still look at Rod Smith, and, one thing about Rod Smith that I really like, and some of you guys need to have a little bit more patience, is that these running backs, when they come in the game, they have to get into a groove. We've been so spoiled with having Zeke Elliott. Everybody else looks mediocre out there other than him. A lot of those runs are Ezekiel Elliott making yardage for himself. You know what I mean? It's not like, our offensive line has been playing out of their mind this year like they did in 2016. We had a lot of injuries. We don't have Travis Frederick making those line calls. And, a lot of that makes a big difference. You look at the downfall of Tyron Smith. You look at when he's there to do his job right, he has to be able to trust the guy next to him. And look at what's going on next to him at the left guard position. It's been interchanged between Connor Williams, I think Redmond been over there a couple of times, Suafilo, is injured again. I think that Connor Williams is going to start today, but Connor Williams got to bring that A game. And I think what they're going to do, and I think Connor Williams is going to be great at that spot tonight. And I'm going to tell you why later in the video, because the way that, I'll get into it, but it's just the way that the Seattle defense plays. It's going to be predicated on Connor Williams, the way that he's the more athletic guy. Because Suofilo, to me, is more of a power guy. Connor Williams is not that power guy. So depending on what defense that's going against you, depends on who is better placed there. So I think that Connor Williams playing today is not a bad thing. Like I said, I'll go over that. Let's see. Russell Wilson, 65.6 completion rating for the year, 3,448 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Now that is a good season for a quarterback. I look at, they're scoring in the red zone. They're doing the things that the Cowboys wasn't doing earlier in the season. Now, Cowboys started getting better at that later in the season, but you look at what Seattle Seahawks are doing, and you can't do anything but respect that. But him and Dak's numbers are hella similar this year, outside of the touchdowns. Russell Wilson obviously has a couple more than Dak does, but you look at just their rating and the things that they do, and I'm going over this now. So Dak Prescott, 67.7 completion percentage, 3,885 yards. So his actual yardage per game is slightly higher than Russell Wilson's, but he comes in with 22 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. But remember, Dak also has 6 rushing touchdowns. So you look at that as opposed to, Russell Wilson not running the ball in the end zone. So, those 6 touchdowns, you add those on, you're closer to the touchdown rating than Russell Wilson. So as far as rushing, they're number 1 right now. Their running back Carson, he has 247 attempts, 1,151 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Davis has 112 attempts, 514 yards, and he also has 9 touchdowns. So they're getting into the end zone with their rushing. Their guys are punching it in. Ezekiel Elliott, 304 attempts, 1,434 yards, the rushing champ, 6 touchdowns. Now, he would have more, but, we've been throwing the ball around and doing different things, which I like. Everybody says all the time the Cowboys is a run-first team, and we are a run-first team, but you also have to realize, too, that with that, you have to do other things as well. Everybody kept saying that Dak Prescott couldn't do a damn thing where Ezekiel Elliott's in the game. Well, if you look at his stats when Ezekiel Elliott's not playing, it's really not that bad, especially this last game with the Giants. Dak proved that if Scott Linehan opens up the playbook and allows him to do what he does naturally, Dak can open up and do things for you. Because, again, one thing you guys have to understand, where you be watching the game, you'll go back and look at the replay, and it's easy for us to couch coach and sit on the couch and say, oh, Dak missed this guy, Dak missed that guy. But when you're actually standing there in the pocket and you got these big guys bearing down on you, you have split seconds to decide where to get the ball to. You have to go through your progressions, look at your reads, and then on the back end, you have to evade these guys. That's why Tony Romo was good at that. But that comes with time. And I think that as Dak plays, his instinctiveness is getting better. But when you have a guy like Scott Linehan that's just sitting there and just telling him, no, don't even look at the reads. I want you to go here. I want the ball to go here. So basically, he's not paying attention to a potential open guy because he's thinking what Linehan told him to do and go here, because that's what the play call was. You look at Tony Romo. Tony Romo had the clout. Tony Romo had an out to do that. Dak Prescott can't do that yet. Once Dak gets a couple more years in him where he's got to the point where he don't really need to listen to the offensive coordinator, when he could read a defense and just sit there and be like, nah, I'm going to go here. When he gets that type of confidence, Dak is going to be just as good as Russell Wilson. Now, do I think that Dak can be that? Yes, hell yeah, I think that. But again, it takes time. A lot of you fans that criticize a lot, you have to be patient. You have to understand that football is one of those things where, Troy Aikman says it all the time. You either have it or you don't. That's true. But there's also a potential factor. When you have a potential factor and you have a guy that's athletic, you have a guy that's strong in the mind, that has the will, the tenacity to do that, you have to allow him to grow. It's just like with anything that you do in life. Whatever the major or whatever job that you're in, you only get better by doing it. And if you handcuff people and don't allow them to do things, look at Blake Jarwin. They're finally letting him catch the ball and do things. His confidence is up. Yeah, the passes that he missed before, his confidence was low. Right now, you get the guy the confidence, you encourage these guys, and all of a sudden you see a better player. That's with any player in this league that has the potential to play. That's my rant on that one. And I just want you guys to just see that and understand that, because that's real life. I don't know, forgot where I was at. I was ranting so hard. So, well, like I said, Dak Prescott has 6 rushing touchdowns too. So, you look at both him and Zeke have 6. I think that in this game it's going to be crucial for Dak to also use his feet and his arms, because you got to confuse the defense. Tyler Lockett receiving. Tyler Lockett and Doug Baldwin are the 2 guys that we have to definitely look for in this game. They are their top receivers, and you have to slow these guys down. Tyler Lockett ends the season 57 receptions, 965 yards, 10 touchdowns. 10 touchdowns for your receiver. Wow. That was a good season for him. Doug Baldwin, 50 receptions, 618 yards, and only 5 touchdowns. He's, I think he missed like 3 or 4 games or something like that for due to injury, but of course he came back right enough time to play the Cowboys, right? Go figure. But anyway, both dynamic receivers, and you got to look out for these guys. My man, Amari Cooper. We had an Amari Christmas. Now, you look at Amari Cooper, which is interesting. He busted 1,000 yards with the Cowboys. When the last time we had a 1,000-yard receiver? I think Dez Bryant in 2014. Might even be before that, but I think it was 2014. Don't quote me on that, but I think it might be 2014, because I remember that he had a good season that year, especially when we played the Jaguars in London. He punished them. Amari Cooper, 75 receptions, 1,005 yards, 7 touchdowns. Cole Beasley had 65 receptions, 672 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, that one in that last game, in the Giants game, that was crucial. That was an athletic play, stretching out, getting your knee down in bounds. That was crucial for that win. And that, the end of that game was just so exciting. Like, you can't do nothing but just jump up for joy after that one. But when I saw his knee was down, I was like, nah, you guys got to reverse that. So my whole thing is, let me not jump ahead. I'll get into these guys. So some fun facts. So we talk about quarterback comparisons and things of that nature, and a lot of people say, oh, well, you can't compare Russell Wilson to Dak Prescott. Well, if you're talking about, if you're comparing them from their first 3 seasons in the league, they're very comparable. Even now, even though we know that Russell Wilson is a better quarterback right now than Dak, he's been in the league, 7 seasons now? He better be. You better be better than Dak Prescott. But, when Russell Wilson came into the league, he was a 3rd-round pick. And he was a raw guy. They looked at him kind of similar to Dak. Like, when he came in, he wasn't able to carry a team on his back. He, just like with most quarterbacks, you need a team around you. He needed those guys around him. He needed a great defense to get stops and get him the ball back. And all he had to do was go out there, be the bus driver, be mobile, be him. The coordinators allowed him to be him. And he won the Super Bowl. Now, they would have won that second one if it wasn't for that bonehead call. They should have let Beast Mode run that ball into the end zone. But, of course, Jenkins picks it off and the Patriots win. Now, again, that right there was a coaching decision. Now, as far as player execution, they're out there making the plays. So if a coach calls a great play and the player doesn't execute, that's definitely on the player. That's with any team, any player, any quarterback, whoever's making that play. That's that crucial moment. Now, you look at Russell Wilson, and you look at him now, he's a triple threat. Russell Wilson, I gotta give him his credit. He's able to go in there and basically win a game for his team because he's been there. He's been to the Super Bowl. He's been to the NFC Championship. He knows how to play. Dak Prescott is still learning. You know, he's got, one playoff win under his belt. Now, you look at this. Dak in his young season, only being here 3 years, and the fact that you could compare his stats to Russell Wilson and some of the things that both of those guys did that nobody else in the league has done, that is phenomenal. So let me get into that. So we said about their completion rating. Russell Wilson was 65 completion rating for the season. Dak Prescott 67. You guys always talk about Dak being dink and dunk and this and that. I look at it like this. Dinking and dunking is not always bad. One thing that you guys have to understand is when you dink and dunk and you get a chunk play within those dink and dunks, that gets you the first down. Think about it. You get a guy on a 5-yard or a 6-round out screen pass. You have 3 more yards, 2 more yards, 4 more yards to get to the first down. Then you can run the ball in there, get that first down, dink and dunk another time, then throw the ball deep for 25 yards. Like, it's chunk plays. It's little bit to get to the big thing, because that's how you keep a defense on their heels. And if you ever played football, you understand what I'm talking about. If you know the game of football, you understand what I'm talking about. Dink and dunk is not always bad. And I hate because you guys listen to these talking heads all the time, and they talk about this and that, and y'all look at what they say. I don't listen to none of them. I know about football. I know my football IQ is there. So I look at it like this. I see things from a different point of view than other people do. So that's why I try to educate some of you guys that don't know as much. That's the reason why we do this YouTube thing, so we can share our minds and our thoughts with, the fans that don't know as well. We have a lot of women that are now watching football, and I love it. The women are getting into it. Shout out to Katie Calls It. She's new to, learning football, American football at its best. But again, that's why we're here, to educate, entertain, and establish relationships. That's what it's about, y'all. That is what it's about. So anyway, Russell Wilson has 215 passing yards per game. Dak Prescott has 242 passing yards per game throughout the season. Russell Wilson has 110.9 passer rating for the year. Dak Prescott has 96.9 passer rating. Numbers are hella similar, y'all. Like, you look at, I feel like we're playing ourselves this week, minus a better coaching staff that they have. Coordinators in general. Fun fact, Dak Prescott has 12 wins in primetime games since entering the NFL. And actually the most in the NFL since he came in 2016. Now, for some people saying that Dak Prescott can't get it done and he's not clutch and he's not doing this, well, the numbers speak for itself. A lot of people don't say, oh, well, we don't want to rely on stats. But you look at, a lot of times stats are, now, when you look at when you look at stats on a broad spectrum, all across the board, you can't lie about those numbers. But some people can skew stats to whatever they're talking about to make it seem like it's better than what it really is. When they're talking about, when they're magnifying a certain part and making that the focal point. No, I look at it from the whole big picture. We know what Dak's deficiencies are, but when you look at the whole, he's still getting it done, even with Linehan not helping him out. And the inconsistencies that the Cowboys had on offense, he's still getting things done. And you got to give a young boy credit for that. And the fact that he doesn't quit, he doesn't blame other people for miscues, he does what he needs to do and gets it done. He has 8 interceptions for the year. I would say 3 of them were not his fault, at least. 3 or 4 of them were not his fault, at least. They were pop-up balls because they hit the player in the chest, and he has some bonehead interceptions as well that that every quarterback wishes they get back. But just like when you throw the ball deep, it's 50-50. It could get intercepted. You look at Brett Favre. Brett Favre back in the day, he threw interceptions crazy. Tony Romo threw a lot of interceptions. But you can't make an omelet without breaking a couple of eggs. That's just, it is what it is. I don't look at interceptions too much, long as you don't have more of them than you have touchdowns. That's all I have to say about that one. Russell Wilson, third player in the NFL history to throw 35-plus yards passing touchdowns on fewer than 450 pass attempts in the season. Now, you look at his touchdown rate. That means that they're getting it done in the red zone. That means that they're getting chunk play touchdowns. They are getting it done. Now, you got to give it to Russell Wilson for that. You've seen him grow from when he first got into the league till now. You look at how Dak is and how he's growing, and you're seeing season by season, game by game, he's getting better and better. That's the comparison I'm making with Russell Wilson, that like when they both came in, they were raw. And with time, they got better and better and better. I still think that Dak needs a better offensive coordinator. I think that that will do him so much just due. And I'm a firm believer of that, and I'm going to be standing on the podium for that every damn time. Every time. Another thing, too, Dak and Russell Wilson are the only players in the NFL history with 30-plus wins and fewer than 30 interceptions in their first 3 NFL seasons. Dak is now finishing his 3rd season in a year. And this is his career. He's only played 3 seasons. And he hasn't had a losing season. You go 13-3 your rookie year, 9-7 your second year, 10-6 your third year. You win 2 divisional titles within those 3 years. Have 1 playoff win and hopefully 1 tonight. I respect Dak Prescott for everything that he's done. I feel like some Cowboy fans get so spoiled. We get so... One thing that y'all gotta remember, go back to 2001, 2002, when we had to choose between Quincy Carter and Chad Hutchinson and those guys that like didn't get it done. Now, Quincy Carter had 1 good season, but you know, when Tony Romo came and, you know, they cut him, they cut Quincy in training camp that next year when Tony Romo got here. And, you know, then they had Drew Bledsoe, and then Tony Romo became the heir apparent. You had that gap that they didn't have a real starting quarterback. You now have a potential franchise quarterback with Dak Prescott. And y'all still complaining? Come on now. Come on. Come on. And I know I'm speaking to the choir here, but some of you guys some of you trolls that come in here and talk about Dak and this and that, you guys really obviously don't know football, because the proof is in the pudding. He's done it. We've seen it. So, you know, have patience again. If you're a real Cowboy fan, you'll have patience with it. Shout out to water. Water is essential to life, and you should drink it all day, every day. Let's get into the meat and potatoes, y'all. So, injury report. Now, the Seahawks really ain't got nobody injured. They are coming in this game pretty much healthy. Now, if I were to say to anybody, they have a doubtful and they have a questionable. So, Trey Madden, their fullback, dealing with hamstring injuries. He's doubtful, so he might get downgraded to out. That might be the only guy that they have missing. So they're going to have healthy scratches to get to 47. Offensive lineman J.R. Sweeney, he's questionable, but he most likely will play. Cowboys injury report. Now, we have some good things and we have some things that, you know, depends on what we're dealing with here. So, Sulo-Filo, we know that he's right now, he's doubtful, but I'm pretty sure that by the time game time comes tonight, he's going to be downgraded to out, because he's dealing with that ankle and they're not going to chance that. Because if we get farther in the playoffs, you can use him later. Now, for that one, I will say that because of the way that Connor Williams starting in this game is not bad, like I said earlier in the video, the way that their defense plays, their defense is like smaller, more shiftier. They're more athletic linemen. And, you know, they have a dynamic linebacking core, you know, led by Bobby Wagner, which is, he's always been, he's one of my favorite linebackers in the league. I have to give him that. Even Jalen Smith said, I model my game after him. You look at Jalen Smith, can be a potential guy like that. Jalen Smith is getting so much better, and I'm loving the way that he goes about the game. Like, it's just, I mean, it's awesome to see the players that we have on this team. Like, I'm loving what they're doing right now and how they're progressing and getting better and better every week. But the way their defense plays, it's perfect to our offensive line because our offensive line is a more athletic line. We pull a lot. And they know that their defensive line cannot outmuscle our offensive linemen. So what they're going to do is they're going to throw the house at us. They're going to be throwing stunts at us. They're going to make our line pull each different way. They're going to try to use their linebackers to rush the quarterback. So it's important that we have the best more athletic players on our line than anything. And I think that, that's kind of Williams' strength, is that pulling and that moving the line and getting those second level blocks. Now you look at Sulo-Filo, he's more of a power guy. When we're playing against big-bodied, like if we play the Rams, that's when you want Sulo-Filo out there. Like if we have to end up playing the Rams to get to the NFC Championship, if we get there, that's who you want in there. So you want to save Sulo-Filo. Let him sit. Let him get that ankle right. Put him in that next game. But I think that interchanging these guys is a good thing to that aspect, to whoever the defense, predicating on the defense that you're playing. Just think about that. So I think that Connor Williams could potentially have a good game this game because of the way Seattle plays their defense. Their defense is very similar to ours, mainly because Chris Richard came from that organization and he brought some of that flavor here with the Cowboys because he saw some of the players that we had here that he was able to implement that game plan. Darian Thompson, I guess that probably doesn't matter to you guys. He dealing with a groin. He's questionable. Him playing or not really doesn't matter to the Cowboys because he's kind of a special teams guy anyway. We got C.J. Goodwin back, so that's your gunner right there. So long as he's playing, that's the bottom line. Tyrone Crawford dealt with that neck injury in the Tampa Bay game that, we thought that it was more serious than that. I don't know why my dog's barking. But Tyrone Crawford's playing. He's in. Tavon Austin was dealing with a groin. He's questionable. I think he re-injured the groin. I don't know what happened after the Giants game, but he's questionable. He could play. He's going to be a game-time decision. But we definitely need the shiftiness of Tavon Austin in this game because you're going to have to do a lot of different things to beat the Seattle Seahawks. David Irving, I don't even know why I even mentioned him. Don't look for him to play. He may not ever suit up again for the Cowboys. I look at it like this. Whatever issues that you're going through with your custody battle, I get it. I understand. I'm sentimental to that. But this football thing is your job. You got to be there. Your teammates are... His teammates gave up on him. You look at the defensive line, they're like, man, we're just going to do what we do. You see that your team is in the playoffs, and you still don't want to be there? Tyrone Crawford almost broke his neck, potentially, and he's playing in this game. But David Irving is somewhere else. You don't care about football, man. But I'm not going to talk about that. Because that is upsetting. It really is. And it's sad. Because you have an opportunity that a lot of people don't get in life to play in the National Football League, and you just squander it. Sean Lee, hamstring, he's in. He's playing. Zach Martin, he's in. Tyron Smith, he's in. They're not missing this game. So that's what we have there. I think really Xavier Sulo-Filo is mainly the only one that we probably have that's outside of David Irving. And Tavon Austin, he'll be a game time decision. Now, let's get to the keys to victory. Meat and potatoes, y'all. So, I say this all the time, but it definitely makes sense right now. Cowboys have to play aggressive on offense, and they have to get an early lead. If we somehow get the ball first in this game, Dak Prescott and his troops have to go out there, get Amari Cooper the ball, get your tight ends the ball, run that damn rock with Ezekiel Elliott, mix it up, because this is playoff time. That playbook that you were doing in the regular season, throw it in the trash. Playoffs, you bring in a whole new system. Everything has changed. This week, at practice should have been big for the Dallas Cowboys, because you have to get in there and you have to do different things. And I hate to use the Eagles as an example, but they won the Super Bowl. How did they win the Super Bowl? They utilized every damn player in their offense. 3 of their running backs scored touchdowns. Their tight end, their key players threw a ball to the quarterback. The quarterback had a receiving touchdown. And you got to do things like that. We might have to do some flea flickers too this game. We might have to do some things that, because everybody knows the Cowboys conservative because of the coaching staff that we have. So when you playing against a team and you do something off base, it's going to work every time. Why? Because they're not going to ever see it coming, because the Cowboys don't do things like that. Do it. It's playoff time. You want to win? You want people to stop saying that you suck? You want people to stop saying that you don't deserve to be America's team? You want to prove to the whole league that you are here to play, that you are the team to beat? Go out there and do it. As simple as that. There's nothing else that I can say to refute that. You have to go out there and do it. Number 2, win in the red zone. Get that. When you're in the red zone, you need to score every time, because Russell Wilson is going to do it on his end, because he's going to get the ball to his running backs. He's going to get the ball to his playmaker, wide receivers, Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett. He's going to get these guys the ball. So, with that being said, you got to get your guys the ball on offense. If Amari Cooper happens to come to you, Dak, and say, "Hey, forget what Linehan talking about, bro. I can beat this guy. Give me the ball. Give me the route." And let him do his thing. Amari Cooper is the best route runner we have on this team. Utilize your receivers. I don't give a damn what Amari Cooper said to you, Linehan. I don't care what he said. Play him. Play him. Win the damn game. Simple as that, yo. Simple as that. Number 3, Dak Prescott has to play sharp and mistake-free. Now, Dak Prescott knows what's on the line right now. I watched his interviews and listened to the things that he had to say. He looks like he's ready to go. He has a lot to prove, and he knows what's at stake. And he knows that he has to be the leader of this team and march his troops to victory. And I think that Dak Prescott will do that this game. But he has to stay sharp. No fumbles, no turnovers. Get it. Now on defense, we have to, first of all, we have to slow that rushing attack down, because we already clarified that they are the number 1 in rushing this year. We have to slow that rushing attack down, get these guys, you got to stop, you got to shock them. Hit them behind the line. Do whatever you need to do. Our linebackers are going to be big this game. Look for Leighton. Look for Sean Lee. Look for Jalen. Look for Damian Wilson. Look for these guys to make plays this game, because that linebacker core is going to be crucial. That second level, stopping them. Get turnovers. Shout out to Antoine Woods, the human log last week, for getting the interception, just snatching the ball out the air like he was a receiver. But again, stay sharp. Get pressure on Russell Wilson. Get these turnovers. Knock the ball out of these guys' hands. Punch the ball. Be like Charles Tillman used to be back in the day. They call him Peanut, because he was that peanut punch. Just pow. Just get in there, punch that ball out. Get those turnovers and get the ball back for your offense. Time of possession is going to be huge this game. The less you got Russell Wilson on the field, the more the Cowboys can do what they need to do. So, with that being said, Joe, that's all I have. And shout out to my man, Sam, man. I know you wanted a game prediction, so here it is, brother. This is going to be a tightly contested game, because these teams are so close when it comes to talent and just the things that they do. It's not a coincidence that they both ended the season 10-6. Just saying. I think the score is going to be hella close. I think it's going to be a little high. I think I'm going to say 34-31 Cowboys. Let's go, Cowboys. Let's win this playoff win. Let's get to the division game, and let's do it, y'all. Let's do it. Let's do it. This is our time right now. Forget what these analysts are saying. Forget all the negativity that we're out. Forget everybody counting up Dallas Cowboys. Our fans need to stop attacking each other, and we need to stick together. What do we say? Win, lose, or draw. Still a Cowboy fan. So if you guys are riding and you're a real Cowboy fan, let's do this, y'all. Let's get this win. It's a home game. Those of you that are going to the game that live in Texas, shout out to y'all. Be there at that game. Wave those towels. Get loud when the defense is out there. And let's do it, y'all. How about them Cowboys? 34-31 Cowboys win. Thanks again to all my subscribers. I appreciate you guys. You guys have been awesome. If you're new to the channel, this is your first time hearing about me, go ahead and smack that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. It's your boy E2 Blue, always keeping it real. I'll talk to y'all soon. Let's have a great game. Let's go, Cowboys.